Pete Crow-Armstrong. He gets better and better each game. Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen or watch every single day. Today's episode is presented by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200,000, Sam, in bonus bets.
100,000
in your first $5 bet win. Shout out to everybody listening here on a Monday episode. Shout out to everybody at work that sneaks the show in on their lunch. Shout out to everybody driving to and from work, getting the show in on a workout or doing things around the house. Really appreciate you being with us all off season long. And we're 1 week away, 8 days to be exact, from opening day. We're going to overreact a little bit today as we have the last couple Mondays. Take one final shot at the Tokyo roster group that's going, including the taxi squad. And Pete Crow-Armstrong is poised for a big 2025 season for the Cubs. While this season will be just his first full one in the major leagues, PCA has all the tools necessary not only to be a major contributor, but possibly beyond that. As we teased last week, Sam predicted possibly an all-star campaign for him, as the Cubs are expected to contend for the NL Central crown. Sam, we knew even in the minors, PCA could field his position well. Turns out, yes, we've seen him play center at a really high level. We knew he could run the bases. We've seen him create chaos in the running game. The hit tool was the question mark. And this spring training, not only has he hit, but he's hit for power as well.
Look, spring training is so tricky because you feel like you pick and choose guys to get excited about, panic about, etc. But I think the one constant, and we'll talk about this, I'm saving this for our overreaction segment with Tucker, or underreaction in this case, but is with guys that aren't proven, with guys that have a year or less than a year of major league experience under their belt. And in PCA's case, getting off to an extremely slow start last year, and then the last 2 months of the year being a really good hitter, an 800 type OPS guy, his great spring, it feels like it matters because it feels like it's a continuation of what he figured out and built on last year. Whereas some other guys that are veterans, it's like last year with David Bodie, with all due respect. We've seen enough of David Bodie to know that that was a fluke, or to know that that's not the norm for him. He's capable of it, and I'm not trying to knock him, but you know what I'm trying to say. With PCA, he's so young. He's so fresh in the league. We saw glimpses of this, especially in August of last year. We saw glimpses of this the second half of the year. So for him to come back and be one of, if not the best hitters in spring so far across the entire league, of course, former Cubs prospect Cam Smith would like to have a word about that. It really does matter, and it does mean something. And, I was listening to Counsell that we're recording the show, by the way, folks, before the 3:05 game on Sunday afternoon. I was listening to Counsell talk this morning, and he was talking about, of course, classic Cubs, Craig Counsell. PCA was like, hey, I'm not a home run hitter. And then Counsell's like, well, I like home runs. Home runs are better than line drives. You know how much, like, just the literalness I just can't stand. But he was talking about PCA, and, it sounds like a guy he's expecting him to be really good. He also said, hey, look, he's going to hit slumps. He's going to struggle. That's a part of it. But I just think PCA is, I said it in my 9 and 9 for Friday, like, it's just so exciting to have a guy on the team where you just have no idea what to expect. The sky's the limit. He could be probably like the second best player on this team. He could be. He probably won't be, but he could be.
Yeah, totally.
He's brilliant defensively, and the bat. I mean, these home runs that he hits. The one he hit in Miami on that Saturday after he hit the inside the Parker that almost left the ballpark, and then yesterday the one to center field. Like, this guy has serious pop. Like, it's serious. That home run to center field. I mean, that's where the big boys hit him. And I after that second home run, I was really enjoying my Saturday. I had a wonderful weekend, and I was watching it, and I said I gotta talk about this right now. 5 RBIs, 2 homers. He's now homered off Reagans and Logan Gilbert in the spring.
That matters.
2 potential Cy Young candidates. The Cubs got a good one here, Matt, and this is probably, along with Shaw, the most excited I've been to watch Cubs players, and Tucker too, but that's a different level. The most excited I've been. It's going to be early in the year. It's just going to be must see to watch this young man play every at bat. And I talked about it last year. Like, we just don't have a lot of those guys, and haven't for a while.
Yeah, when people are asking me as the season approaches the first game closer and closer, who's your favorite Cub or who's your favorite guy to watch? After Steele or Imanaga on the pitching side, I say PCA now. I do.
Yeah.
12 for 23 entering Sunday's action. I want to get to some other numbers for him as well this spring and see if you're concerned or not. But he did showcase power in the minors a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I would say more than a little bit.
More.
16 and 22, 16 homers in 22, 20 and 23.
In like 100 games in 23.
I do wonder, even if he opens the season 7th in the order, what Council does with him throughout the year.
Yeah.
Maybe he bumps him up to 6th, or, a game. Could we see a game a month? I know that's an extremely low bar, but could we see him hit leadoff one every 20, 25 games, something like that? Just the star potential is there, the swagger's there, the presence, the intangibles that you need to do something we haven't seen in a long time, to be frank. And I'm not talking about my dad, but the one thing that concerns me, Sam, in spring training, 12 for 23, 3 homers, 4 dubs.
Strikeouts?
0 walks.
Oh, okay.
0.
Yeah, that's something that he's going to work through, because he didn't walk a lot last year. But I think when you're a young player like him, there's steps. And right now, he figured out something last year. Being aggressive early in the count was going to be the best way for him to make good contact. The next step for him will be to be able to still do that and draw some walks. But right now, don't. I always call it the 2013 Castro, where they took a strength away from him to try and get him better. And it didn't work. It ruined his whole year. And then he bounced back in 14. They were like, hey, we want you to, get to more 2-0 counts, take bigger swings. And he just was a bat to ball guy. That's just what he was. I think eventually PCA will take more walks and take advantage of his speed. But I think his big adjustment has just been being aggressive early in the count, seeing pitches. So just let that happen for now. In terms of the order stuff, I don't have a strong opinion on that. It is interesting, though, now this is the second day in a row they flipped Seiya and Tucker. We talked about that making more sense. Seiya's 2, Tucker's 3. So that'll be interesting going forward. We are recording this, like I said, before the game. Bold prediction, I think Kyle Tucker will leave the yard Sunday afternoon. So check back Monday for that return. I think he's going to leave the yard. He's going to hit a home run on Sunday. So, the PCA stuff, man. The excitement level is. I'm trying to control myself to not overdo it.
And he changed his number. I'm glad for that. 52-4 recently.
Yeah, you care about that stuff.
Next up is Matt Shaw. He needs to get rid of his offensive lineman number and get something better. All right, coming up next, here's a good Cubs number in history, 25.
Oh,
A lot of good memories with that one. Gage Workman is wearing that currently. How much longer will he be wearing that? Let's see if he could make this team. We talk about him and the bench battle next.
this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here, the best time of year.
Go Cubs.
And FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Folks, this Illinois team has been really difficult to handicap this year. In the beginning of the year, you thought they might have Final Four aspirations. In the middle of the year, they looked like an NIT club, and now they're starting to get hot again. I think they're going to be right around the 5-6 seeds, maybe 6-7 probably. Can they win that first round game? Yes. Could they go to a Sweet 16? Time will tell. I'm not sure. Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans, what a fine job he's done this year. That's a team that could go really far in the tournament. They're very deep and really a surprise year for them. That's pretty much it out of the Big Ten. So please visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long.
Gage Workman, as a Rule 5 draft pick, must make the opening day roster or be offered back to his original team, the Detroit Tigers, with Nico Horner and Matt Shaw both expected to make the roster for March 27th. The question looming now is if Workman's time on the roster with the Cubs will be short-lived to only the Tokyo series next week. Horner is staying back, so both Workman and Vidal Brujan are expected to make the trip. However, either one will be the 26th person on the roster later this month on the 27th, at least as of right now. Workman is 10 for 26 this spring, 3 homers. He's made no errors in 41 innings at third base, a position the Cubs are still pretty thin at. Brujan is 7 for 24 with 4 steals and has played in 4 different spots, none of those being third base. Sam, I thought you put it well last week. Is it defense or speed in Workman or Brujan, respectively, for manager Craig Counsell and company? But I think right now, with Justin Turner only being able to play third in a pinch, John Birdie being better at second and short, and Matt Shaw still developing there, I think this is Workman's spot right now.
I agree, and I was actually surprised he wasn't in Sunday's starting lineup if Shaw was going to get a breather. Why not? Why not put him there? I mean, they're putting Turner there, I guess maybe just to see how that looks.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, I think Workman has earned his spot. I think ultimately with Shaw's oblique mixed with his inexperience over there, I do think you need to have another steady defensive player over there because, hopefully the Cubs learned a very valuable lesson last year. You can't just, and again, Matt Shaw's not Christopher Morel. I've made that very clear. I don't think there's anybody in the media business that's higher on Matt Shaw than me. In fact, I'll be disappointed if he doesn't play in Japan. Even though his numbers in spring, he's sitting like 1-something. The at-bats look good. He passes the eye test. He hit so many baseballs through the first and second base hole. And when the first baseman's not holding a guy there, he makes the play. But if there's a guy on first, he's just going to be first to thirding guys all year with those base hits. But still, you have to protect yourself. And with Morel last year, the Cubs really didn't. And so, they had Madrigal. They didn't really play him, and then he got hurt, whatever. But I just think having Workman there will make Craig Counsell sleep a little bit easier, knowing that he's got a safe guy that can really play the position with good hands and just a plus defensive player who's shown the ability this spring that he's no slouch offensively either. Remember, in 2023, when the Cubs were really rolling, Madrigal was getting a lot of reps over there at third. And it's like, he just played decent defense and he wasn't hitting at all. So, if Workman's there or whoever it is, you play decent defense. And if Workman's, hitting 260. That's better, with a little pop. That's better than what we've gotten in the past. I talked about this on Friday's show, Matt. Like, it's so ironic that Matt Shaw and, Workman, whoever is going to play third base over there, has all these expectations. If you just go year to year, they have no expectations to worry about. The third base position was an atrocity last year, an abomination. Whatever the word is, the worst possible thing. Morel was a negative. Paredes came in here and was not good. So, just league average level production. And that's almost like the Cubs are acquiring a whole different player.
Yeah, the last 2 years was really a sight not to be seen at third base for the Cubs. It really is shaping up to be not only better, but more exciting and potentially with way more contributions than just being league average, or for a lot of that time, below league average, which is quite frankly unacceptable for a team that's supposedly favored for the NL Central crown. And shoot, even the so-called big trade they made in the summer of 23, Jeimer Candelario, he didn't even play third base full time. They put him at first.
Exactly.
Workman had a really solid offensive year last year. Again, he's not making the team because he's 10 for 26 this spring with 3 long balls, but it helps. But he's making it for his defense. But last year, he hit 18 homers. He stole 30 bases. OPS over 840. Was it at Double-A Erie? Yeah, it was. But a resume is a resume, and if there's a candidate to skip AAA, which he's required to do because he's a Rule 5 pick, then he really is setting himself up for success here and really taking this 26 spot. And good for the Cubs to have him lead in plate appearances. I mean, he's actually getting a real opportunity here in spring, in addition to his resume and the work they knew about him before this. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Horner. First of all, Shaw not making for the 27th, Shaw not making the Tokyo series. Again, I did the math last weekend. It was hard to see, but now at this point, with the feedback we're getting from him, from counsel, I wonder what the reason would be if they would hold him back. And Tokyo series, the rules are a little bit weird. We're hearing that the earliest they may announce that group is Monday. And so I did want to go over that. I wanted to take a shot at this. I wanted to see if I could get this right.
All right.
The big twist that's been revealed is Matthew Boyd, who I thought maybe could pitch in relief. Same with Tyone, Jameson, Sam.
Wow.
They're going to be on the taxi squad, and they're going to load up with relievers. So let's take a look at this. Imanaga and Steele are going to be the only active starters, folks. It's going to be a parade of relievers, including Brad Keller, who's a non-roster guy. They're going to keep all the dudes without options, Miller, Thompson, and Merriweather, at least for 8 or 9 days, right?
What do you mean the taxi squad? What does that mean?
Yes. So each game, you have 26 active players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like a regular game over here domestically. Yeah. But the Cubs could bring an extra 5 guys just in case.
Oh, so they're going to be the just-in-case guys.
And so Boyd and Tyone are, as of right now, going to be just in case. Maybe even we'll throw that Friday night in Japan, that exhibition a little bit. And then if they need them Tuesday, Wednesday, they'll be switched out with someone. But, that's something you don't want to happen. On that taxi squad, I have Boyd, Tyone, Brandon Hughes, who's a non-roster guy. Reese McGuire is supposedly going to be the third catcher, according to Patrick Mooney of The Athletic. He's a non-roster player. Kevin Alcantara apparently beat Nicky Lopez for the last taxi squad spot. Bruce Levine reported Sunday morning. Nicky Lopez was told Sunday morning that he's not making the trip across the pond. So I guess Alcantara would get the position spot, but I'm not positive. But that's what I'm predicting. And then each team gets 3 inactive, or you might even call them exempt spots. And so you don't have to put people on the IL that might otherwise be ready for the domestic opening day. And the Cubs have one of those guys in Nico Horner. So they're going to want to take advantage of that unless they could use the more elbow room and activate him maybe for the home opener or something like that. So shooting for 100% here. If I don't get it, I'll be okay. But they're bringing over 31 guys over there. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. I give you a lot of credit for doing that.
Thank you very much. Do you really, or are you just saying?
No, I do. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just win one game in Japan. Just find a way to win a game and come back and, split in Arizona, win 2 out of 3 in Oakland. And then
here we go.
And then have a 4-2 homestand against the Padres and Rangers.
Yeah.
And the Padres and Rangers. And let's start 9-6.
Right. You forgot about the A's series.
No, I said take 2 out of 3 in Oakland.
Oh, 2 out of 3 in Sacramento.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Sacramento. So split Arizona, 2 out of 3 Sacramento, 4
wow,
out of 6.
So you're already back on this train. Okay.
So let's have some.
So I rubbed off on you, is what you're saying.
9-6, and then we'll go from there.
Coming up next, Overreaction Monday. It is time to overreact here on a Monday. We're going to do this. I think we're going to try to do this throughout the whole 2025 campaign. Sam, I'm too. Before we press record today, actually you teased it during the show, I believe, about the Cubs' new star player. So what do you think of Kyle Tucker's 0-for performance so far this spring?
Yeah, so I'm going to underreact here, and then I have an overreaction. Guys, and I want to thank my dad publicly for raising his voice at me about this because I expressed some concern about Kyle Tucker, and he got really upset at me.
We got to patch him in here maybe the next couple of weeks.
It's just hard. He has no technology besides a phone. So, he calls in like it's like 1981. Kyle Tucker. If you combine the 2020 season with the 2024, so put those into one full season because the COVID year, and then he played about 79 games, add those together, It's like one full season. He's had 3 unbelievable seasons and 1 really solid season. So 4 in a row of being a really, really, really good star level baseball player. When you have that type of resume, you don't care about 20 at-bats in spring that don't matter, folks. And I know that sounds hypocritical because I just praised PCA, but the difference is what I said, the resume. I'm about to do a little bit of a monologue on Matthew Boyd, but Matthew Boyd doesn't have the resume. Kyle Tucker has left no doubts about what he does on a baseball diamond. His partner in crime, Yordan Alvarez, who I believe is one of the most underrated hitters in this game, he's batting 170 in the spring. You think he's concerned? He's going to hit 40 homers, okay? Tucker had a fly ball to the track on Saturdays.
I saw that.
And did you see him in the dugout? He's laughing. He tried it back. He's smiling.
Looking at the iPad.
When it counts, he'll be fine. Don't worry about stars in the spring. Stars are meant to perform when the lights are bright.
Which the Cubs didn't have until the late 80s. But so
that was funny.
All right, well, that's the segment. Oh, no, there's more.
No,
I
got Boyd. I got Boyd too. So do you have any?
Well, as you saw in my roster projection, Tyson Miller's making the trip. But could this dude have a clean inning for once? Yeah. I know there was maybe a non-strike 3 call on Saturday. I was watching it live. No, but make a pitch.
Make a pitch.
Yeah. And help yourself out. If there's a bad call, take a breath, have some control over the situation. But really disappointing from him this spring.
I feel bad for him.
And it'd be one thing if he was maybe hitting a guy, walking a guy. It's just he's getting hit and hit hard.
The only
526 opponent's batting average as he's recorded 3 2/3 innings so far this spring. And I would also underreact to Ben Brown's hit and run results. He's got a 9 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio.
Yeah. Good
He's
call.
a great story this spring, folks. I can't wait to see him again pitch at Wrigley. And I think the starting rotation at AAA to open the year is going to be Brown, Wicks, Horton, Assad.
Wow. Might be better than our own rotation. Because speaking of,
tell us about Matt Boyd.
Yeah, just one quick comment on Miller, and
Okay.
it stinks that it goes like this. He has given up a lot of damage to lefties, which he won't really be facing a lot in the regular season. Just want
That's
to
true.
make that point, but it's
Yeah.
still he still shouldn't have an ERA in the 20s. All right. So for those that watch the show every day, Matthew Boyd has been somebody I've been pretty high on, and I think he could be a real good story for the Cubs. He did not pitch well on Saturday at all. And I actually, of course, I tweeted about it and everyone's like, oh, you're overreacting. And then the next inning, he gave up like 3 more runs. I talked to Ty about this. Ty was like, yeah, I think he's a control guy. Sometimes it takes those guys, a little bit to find their thing. Fine. Mm-hmm. All I'm going to say is this. Matthew Boyd better be productive because the Cubs went out before any of these pitchers were off the board. And they gave him $14 million because it was a cheaper option, but they had to. And we talked about this the day. It was a Monday morning. I remember it well. It was not sunny. Let's just say that. It was a cloudy early Monday morning. I started off my week on a live show about Matthew Boyd. And I said, the Cubs obviously see something. They saw something in his breakout last year to go out. All the guys were still available, and the Cubs are at what, $215 million in luxury tax.
Yes.
They could have just gotten a guy at $21 million instead and gotten to 220, 221. They could easily have done that. They had to have they showed tremendous conviction in getting Matthew Boyd. He cannot be bad. I don't think he will be. It's just spring, like we said, but I'm just saying, I just want to put that out there that, this isn't a guy like Kyle Tucker that's had 4 or 5 great years of success. He's had a couple good years. He's older. He's battled some injuries. He needs to be at minimum, a competent 4th starter for the money that he's making. And again, because of the other options, Matt, that were out there that the Cubs could have gotten. And then, they tried to get Luzardo. They didn't. They signed Colin Ray, and we have no idea what his, where he's going to be. Is he going to start? Is he going to be out of the pen? I have no clue. But Matthew Boyd needs to be productive for the Cubs, or that one is on Jed.
Especially because they seemingly crossed people off in November. Burns, Buehler, Flaherty,
exactly.
Eovaldi. That's going to be the position group that's looked at with a closer lens the whole time.
Yeah, because we all felt like they're missing a guy, and by the way, so did they. That's why they traded for Luzardo. Why they tried to trade for Luzardo.
Right, it fell apart.
So you go in. Do we know who the 5th starter is? Like, do you have a lean on that?
I believe it's going to be Colin Ray. And then,
in Sacramento, you think he's going to make that first start in Sacramento? Then after game.
That, I think it might be Wicks or Brown.
Okay.
By mid-April, let's say. Maybe not right after that, but by mid to late April, I think you'll start to see some shuffling with Ray going to the bullpen. But these things have a way of taking care of themselves.
They do. Well, and it's fun because whoever's pitching the best in AAA should get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Speaking of AAA, like you said, Cade Horton, by the way, got the save Saturday, first ever appearance. I actually, believe it or not, which is, I don't know why I just said that like it's some unbelievable thing. I was done with the game. I had enough about inning 7 or inning 8. So thought the regulars were out of there. I had some plans, and then I got the text that he was in. Pulled up the app. Left where I was with a little, few people, just watched the inning in a corner to myself, gave up a home run, but curveball looked really good, really sharp. exciting. And then Craig Counsell said on Sunday, we expect to call up Cade Horton this year. That needs to be the mindset. And I love that. This has been a continuation of things with Counsell that just, like I talked about Friday, just a little bit different of an attitude, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more just in control of everything. And man, I'm excited about this team. I can't wait. I got my alarm set. I'm going to watch this baseball game this afternoon.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode. We are here
Tucker's
5
getting a
days a
homer.
week talking about all things Cubs.
Getting a home run.
Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We're making the push at 13,000 subs, maybe even by the end of this month. And we're streaming worldwide on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Sirius XM, and more. All right. All sorts of final spring storylines as we make the push to 5:10 a.m. Central Standard, Tuesday, March 18th. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy, and you are now Locked On Cubs.
Yeah.